What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 109. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Let's get this thing started. Let's get it started.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Adam Vale.
Yeah, Titanfall 2, thank you.
And Brian Munjoma.
I will not talk about the elections. I will not talk about the elections. I will not talk about the elections.
Boot you right off this motherfucker.
I said I will not talk about the elections.
But by not talking about it, you are talking about it.
Okay, then. PS4 dropped it was yesterday or today? Wait, today's time zone.
Well, yesterday for you, probably.
PS4 Pro dropped sometime.
Yeah. Technically, it dropped today. I didn't get my shit, but I'll talk about it later. Before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to Enrique and the Basement Radio Arcade podcast crew. I was on their show last night talking shit, a lot of fun. Met some good people there. John Phipps was there, obviously. And I also want to give a shout out to Super Deformed Gamescast. They actually have Mike Laidlaw from Dragon Age BioWare on their show right now. Really cool stuff. Those guys are pretty, they're doing a good job hustling stuff. So I want to give them a shout out. And yeah, as I mentioned, people, this is a video game podcast. Some people were asking us like, hey, are you going to talk about the election? No.
They don't why. There's no need.
Like, I understand people, they listen to us twice a week. They feel like we're part of their homes and, families. Yes, but no, this is a fucking video game podcast. We ain't talking about that bullshit, and let's just jump into it. We got a crazy ass show. PS4 Pro, it dropped today, and two of us here have it. I didn't get it. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Okay, partially my fault, but also I wish fucking Amazon would give me a heads up. I think I told this story on air. So, like 2 or 3 months ago, I got an I got a text from my bank telling me, hey, were you at CVS at 5:30 in the morning spending $230? I'm like, no. So, once all that shit was cleared, right? Everything was fine. They sent me a new debit card or whatever. I forgot that I had used my old debit card to buy the PlayStation 4 Pro, right? Yesterday, I get a fucking thing. Oh, your payment has been denied. I'm like, I got money in the bank. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, shit, the payment. So everything was cool. I'm actually getting it tomorrow, but all day I've been on fucking Twitter looking at everybody just like, oh my God, look at it, look what I got. I'm just here like, man, fuck all of you right now.
You're like, wah.
Where's my shit, But we do have two of us here who have it, and Adam has actually playing it right now as we speak.
I got some issues. I can tell everybody right off. I always got issues, but this one is more something that I'm just noticing. As you guys know, I just started a Tomb Raider before just to see, and then you go into options, and then in there you can see the different video options for the new features. But
yeah,
FIFA, I just opened up FIFA 17. I don't see that. So it's like, how do you know when it's on, or do some of the games just turn it on?
Here's the thing. There is no universal solution at this point in time. So I'm guessing that for every single game, it's going to be different.
That's confusing.
Each game has a patch for the upgrade.
Yeah, and I noticed that they said some of the patches, it varies. Like some will just do like high frame rates. Some can do support for the 4K HDR. It seems like there's not just one standard.
No, and that's something I want to actually talk about, because a lot of the games that are out now for PS4 Pro, they're just upscaled, right? They're not actually true 4K. Some of them are, some aren't. There just isn't a standard at the moment right now. Hopefully there will be a standard later on, but right now, like NBA 2K 17, that shit is native 4K 60 frames, but then you got shit like Tomb Raider where they have a bunch of options. Then you got shit like Uncharted where it's just like, okay, you just get HDR and 4K upscaled. That's it. So there's no standard at the moment.
Yo, man, them Uncharted guys are working on that DLC supposedly.
Yeah, that's right. The single player shit, But so anyway, Carlos, have you gotten a chance to play it yet?
So I got my PS4 Pro right as I got back from work, and I transferred everything. I started up. That shit gets hot as hell, man.
I bet.
Like I was just transferring the data from my old PS4 to this one, and I put my hand on the back of the fan.
Oh no, you'll burn yourself.
That shit is hot. It's like legitly hot. And but no, I I transferred everything. This was like maybe like 30 minutes ago to an hour, and I started up The Last of Us because I wanted to see how that looked. And I noticed that some bullshit, man. I noticed that my receiver, because I have everything connected to a receiver, all my HDMI inputs, and all output to my TV. I noticed that my receiver doesn't support HDR. So I'm like, fuck, I might have to upgrade my receiver now. I bought that shit like 2 years ago. And but yeah, like it's Last of Us looks good. I did that unlocked frames. It was I think like it's supposed to be 60, right?
If it's supposed to go up to 60, yeah.
Is it that's in the options for The Last of Us, or?
Yeah, so you could either do this in the main menu before you start it, or during the game. You can you press start and you go to your options and it to display, and then you can see like the different settings that it has. So I'm assuming it's going to be pretty similar to every other game. I'm not sure if you can all do it in game, but at least for The Last of Us, you can.
All right, I got to ask the crucial question. How did you transfer it? Because there's different ways to transfer your shit. How did you do it?
So it's weird. So first of all, you have to kind of like sync them. So I was like, I had both of my PS4s connected to my network, and but one I had Wi-Fi and the other one I had it through LAN, through an Ethernet. So I couldn't sync it. So I'm like, what the hell? Like okay, I guess. And then so I disconnected the Ethernet from one of the PS4s, and both of them were on Wi-Fi. So okay, that works. And then I went to the next step, and then I went to some other step, and then it's like, oh well, now you have to connect both of them using Ethernet. I'm like, oh, okay, now I need Ethernet. They should just tell me that like in the beginning. But after that,
yeah, I saw a video that said that it had to be through Ethernet. So I just made sure I had one and plugged it in, and
that's the way you transfer your data between the original between the PlayStation 3s.
3 and 4, yeah.
I just thought it was kind of bullshit that it didn't tell me from the beginning. I'm like, because I disconnected the Ethernet from one of them so I can have both of them on Wi-Fi. I was like, just tell me to connect both of them together and go on from there. But
yeah, you need to connect both of them directly together in order to do the transfer.
So yeah, after that it took like maybe an hour and a half to transfer everything, and everything looks good. It asked me as soon as I started it, after I transferred it, if I want to make it my main. Like Tony told me about that. I didn't know about that.
Yes, you got to make it your main PlayStation. You can't have like multiple.
I'm looking to where do you verify that? Because I know that I did it. I did do the system settings, the system transfer tool that they have, and it said it did it automatically. But I just want to double check.
Where is that exactly? Because you should be able to like select it from there. By the way, some people I know, they actually sold their PlayStation 4 and they were like, "Oh fuck,
no."
What? There is a saving grace. So you actually log on to your account online and do it from there.
And activate it from there. But that means that you will lose certain things like PT.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the only kind of crappy thing, you know.
Yo, man, you can't play that PT no more. You can't play it in pro mode.
Man, where?
Yeah, right? 4K scaring you, man. I'm still fucking around. But yeah,
I'm looking for that primary because I just want to double check that, and I can't find that option. I'm in the users. You would think it would be there because.
No, it's not in users. There's another section that has a lot of it. But the best place to do it, it's a little bit difficult to find it in the actual PlayStation. Main thing you want to do is you want to go online to your PlayStation account, log in, and then go into the account options, and then you can choose which one is your main PlayStation.
Well, I know a little quick one, what I can do.
But there you go.
And that is download something from the store. Because if you can't do it,
I need to ask the main question: should this have been the PlayStation 4 all along?
No, because it would have been much more expensive when it came out.
Yeah, how much would it have cost? Because the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people are saying, why wasn't this the original PlayStation 4? For money?
Yeah, for the same reason why we're not getting an 8 terabyte, an 8 teraflop console right now, and as opposed to a 4 teraflop console.
The money.
Yeah, it's gonna come out more expensive. So Sony had to cut a lot of costs, and they actually had pretty good specs for all intents and purposes for the price that they released the console at. And
because some people
they didn't bust out a Nintendo, man. You know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they didn't go hard like Nintendo went, But even with because it has like a better GPU, the CPU is still the same. It's just like overclocked or something.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question.
Go ahead. Oh, by the way, gentlemen,
I found it.
Brett is in the house. Hello, Brett.
Hello, everybody.
All right, what's going on?
Hello, Brett.
I'm gonna get off a little bit into. I know this is kind of VR specific, but has anybody heard about asynchronous space warp?
No.
That is an amazing game, by the way.
Man, he's full of shit. But I'm actually glad you bring up that question, Brett, because PS4 Pro was supposed to enhance VR. Some even say the only reason it exists is because of VR.
It's an interesting day. It's ironic that it comes out. For those of you that don't know, asynchronous space warp is a technique that extrapolates frames. It essentially, on lower end hardware, increases the frame rate artificially. So it's going to be used a lot in VR to drop down the minimum specs required to play games. What this means in layman's terms is that it can make something at about 45 screens per second render better and smoother than 90 frames per second, which is critical in VR, but is really important kind of across the board. So we have a console being released today that's main technical prowess is increasing frame rates through increased power to the system. And on the same day, we have Oculus, a seemingly worthless company so far, releasing a way to kind of squeeze more out of lower end systems. So that being said, like if Sony had access to this asynchronous space warp, it could be rendering the fact that they just made a tech bump in their system moot. In fact, it could render a lot of shit moot if we actually found out a smarter way to program stuff as opposed to just generally beefing stuff up. So I was just curious if anybody had heard about this.
No, man, you're hitting us with facts right now.
Like I said, it's the most amazing game you've never played.
Even though it's not a game.
Asynchronous space warp.
I thought it was a game when I heard about it. I was like, what kind of? I never heard of this VR title.
Yeah, like what is that, man? You warping through space? What is this shit?
Play asynchronous space warp on your Oculus Rift.
But anyway, going back, about why the PlayStation 4 Pro exists, I really believe it's because a lot of the fans were just crying out for a more powerful system, and since they don't want to go full on PC, they wanted it in a console, so they got that, and also because, and this is something Phil Spencer said, but I'm assuming Sony's doing the same thing too, or thinking the same thing too. They want to be more like mobile, where devices where you get iterations faster, not just every 5 or 6 or whatever years. So I think it's something like that. Basically,
my God,
yeah.
Really?
So basically, yeah, it's crazy, but I think this is just the new reality. If this shit takes off and if the Scorpio takes off, expect this more often.
It's a stupid idea. It's a dumb idea. And consoles are lucky that PC hasn't come out with a fucking killer app that they can't run on consoles yet. And the only reason they haven't fucking done that shit yet is because nobody wants to have Crysis again. Crysis, the game everybody thought was beautiful, but nobody could fucking play.
Yeah,
the game they put so much money into building an engine around, and then
destroyed their country, and it destroyed their company.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. Crytek's still around. What are you talking about?
I'm sure it's like one guy in a desk.
Crytek?
I'm Crytek.
Crytek, like they get so much fanfare for their engine, which was great, but like Crysis didn't do well. And Crysis didn't do well because it melted everybody's PC cards and consoles couldn't run it. Like, it was, for those of you that could experience Crysis when it first came out in all of its visual glory, you're like, holy shit, this is the future of gaming. And then like 2 years passed and you're like, wow, like nobody's able to take advantage of this right now. And everybody kind of cut it off at the knees.
Here's something interesting about Crysis, by the way, because it finally got ported to the PS3. It's still not as powerful as the fucking PC version from like. 10 years ago.
No. When I say it was cut off at the knees, I mean when they finally ported it, people were like, I don't really understand what the big deal was. Yeah, because they ruined it on its way out the door.
Yeah. By the way, it's funny you mentioned Crytek, because they have a new VR game, Robinson: The Journey, which is supposed to be one of the better VR games that has dinosaurs in it and shit. You know,
we saw Hideo Kojima playing that game.
Yeah, man.
My point is though that like nobody wants to invest, no developer wants to invest that heavily in something that far ahead of its console counterpart. Because basically it's a warning now. They're like, great, you're gonna make a game that only 10% of the population can play, and that's not gonna sell well, and that's not gonna do well for us. So again, we get back into the thing that I'm always fucking bitching about power disparity between PC and consoles in terms of processing power, not graphical power. God forbid we have the game come out on fucking PC that does something that a console game can't. And we have to sit here one day and explain to people, because they won't listen to us until they ask us on the question. They'll ask us why they're not getting the same features in the console games as they're getting in their PC counterparts, or why they're just not getting a game like that. Period.
Yeah, but do you think these iterative consoles are an answer to that?
No, the iterative consoles are the opposite. They're going to lock us in that. Iterative consoles will be the reason that they're holding back, because you can scale up graphics. You can't scale up features. I mean, you can, but the general market is idiots, and they're not going to tolerate that. You cannot explain to the mass public why this version does this and this version doesn't do this without making it seem like one is blatantly inferior.
Yeah, so like, no, you have a point though, because a lot of this shit is stemming from the fact that these guys are screaming, I want 4K, I want 4K, I want 4K. No one's asking, I want better gameplay, I want better AI, I want destructible environments.
No one's asking for that shit. Did anybody really ask for I want 4K? I don't think so.
That's all you've been hearing about.
That's what Sony and everybody else have been talking about. I haven't been hearing anybody talking about.
I've been hearing nothing but that.
I've been hearing I've been hearing is frame rates and frame rates and other stuff.
Manny, okay, we need to follow different. I need to follow whoever you're following, because when I brought that up last week, and this is me bringing this up, by the way, I said, why are you motherfuckers so focused on resolution? You should be worried about frame rates. Everybody jumped on my ass. No, frame rates don't matter. Resolution's more interesting to console gamers. We don't give a shit about it. As long as it's 30.
I don't know about that.
The same bullshit I used to say. Console gamers are very limited in that sense. They don't give a fuck about frame rates. They don't care about improved gameplay. They care about 4K and high resolution textures. That's all I've been hearing for fucking years. And that's what, and these companies are like, okay, just give them 4K.
4K. It's like everybody's asking for. It's like everybody asking for 4K, and most people don't even own a fucking 4K television.
And that's the irony of it all.
That's bullshit. I think it's just it's a bunch of bullshit to sell fucking TVs.
It could be that too, but I just find it funny how most people don't have 4K TVs, right? Everybody could benefit from having higher frame rates, right? But no, nobody wants to focus on that.
I love that argument. I don't care. I don't care that much. I get it. I get input lag. I get competitive gaming. I get general ease of experience. Like, I get all of it. I don't care enough to upgrade hardware simply for straight frame rate. Like, you have to give me more than that. Unless we're like, the only place you may have me on that one is on VR. Like, okay, this game will make you barf. This hardware will make it so you won't barf. Like, okay, then you have me sold. Otherwise, I don't care that much. Great, I'm not gonna be like, the human eye could only see 30 frames, but like, because that's bullshit. I like a 60 frame per second game, but if given the choice, would I take a game that is more open, like a Bethesda game, and more rich, and has deeper gameplay mechanics? And would I rather have more constrictive gameplay at 60 frames per second? No, absolutely. So nobody is saying that. I think the other side of the coin isn't that nobody cares about frame rates. It's for the love of Christ, put your power somewhere else. Even if we're even strictly speaking, graphically versus computer processing power. Like even if you're not comparing apples and oranges, like if we're strictly saying what can they do graphically to make things better, I would still say frame rate not the most important thing.
So you think the textures are more important then?
I think textures, I think ambient
Detail.
occlusion, I think a lot of the little chairs, like it's all the particles and all the light filtering things that work together. Like the best example I could give is I find reflective water in games like really immersive. So if like you're stepping through a puddle and it actually reflects what's going on above it, I think that's super cool.
And it's also that one thing takes up so much memory, creating a reflection in an object.
Yeah, but I will sit there, like if I catch in a game lighting reflecting off of a surface and bouncing back onto another surface, I will stop what I'm doing to sit there and go, ooh.
Oh yeah, like when you have a lot of what they've been doing as of late, like where is like you have a red wall, right? The light reflecting off the red wall will reflect on the character and on the environment and change the room's color.
Exactly, and that's the kind of shit, and that takes up processing power. That takes up graphical power. That's the kind of shit that I love. When
that's like a global illumination thing where it's like they back in the old days they used to use like when you had multiple light sources on a character, it's literally that each character in the game had a light source on them that would light insert, and would reorient itself depending on and be triggered when you walked into certain locations. But with global illumination situations where it's like it's actually a light that's reflecting and bouncing all over the place.
And see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They're building systems. Like you could spend a lot of time making a bunch of different character models, tinted a bunch of different colors, and then you're like, here's what it looks like with overhead lighting. Here's what it looks like with backlighting. Now we're going to make this track to the overhead, the where the lighting is coming on for the model of the level design. Now they're actually using this power to go in and be like, we're actually going to just like create the model, create the lighting, and then layer a new layer of lighting over top of that to act as the reflective lighting. And so they'll build it more naturally. They build systems that kind of work together as opposed to making artists go in and do the heavy lifting. As weird as that sounds, like I would me saying like I'd rather programmers design a lot of this stuff than the artists design a lot of this stuff. It's more natural, and it makes for a better product when a system is allowed to be itself, because you're not going to play a game where every idea is thought of. It's every dungeon is tinted perfectly. But if you get a lighting system working right, then you don't need to do that. All you need to do is tell the game there's a light here and the area is blue. You don't need to program the game.
That's what it is with when you have like situations where it's like the programmers have created these dynamic lighting systems that essentially the environment's light actually affects the character, as opposed to, again, programming lighting situations and triggers for when you walk into an environment.
Well, exactly.
But the thing is that the thing is that still an artist still needs to place those lights within the environment in order for gameplay and such like that, where
No, there's still definitely art going on. It's a whole new kind of art. This interactive set building. Like I'm convinced that there is a new emergent kind of art coming out that is the idea. It's almost equivalent to like model building or something like that. It's the ability to build a kind of game scene or level design or movie scene, outside of just one singular area. And I think it's going to be an emergent field in the next 20, 30 years, especially
the one thing about a game design nowadays is that a lot of the actual level designers aren't full-on programmers anymore. Same thing with a lot of the animators. Animators now are just animators. They're not animation programmers anymore. So they're not. They've already. It's already in effect. They've already taken a lot of the technical side that you would need to worry about away, and already have a specific role for that. It's like, okay, the animation system is not working. Talk to the animation software programmer, as opposed to the guy who's actually doing the animation is also the programmer as well.
Well, I was fascinated by like how like Pixar, like Brave was done that way, like where they didn't actually animate the girl's hair. They built it into a program and then essentially
she's got
puppeted inside the program. That doesn't take away the composition or the shot layout or the fluency of the editing or anything like that away. It just means they built it within a system.
Yeah, I mean, they have a dynamic physics system, which, essentially you don't need to, if a person moves fast with using this physics system, obviously the dress or the hair will all move in accordance with it.
So I think that's the future of the way that they design video games is designing them smarter, not designing them harder. So like sorry to get off on a tangent. Like, yes, that is all the things that I think are more important than frame rate.
Yeah, but the problem is, I still think console gamers are just too focused on 4K texture. Like you said, I know people have 4K TVs, but not enough yet.
Beyond that, console gamers don't understand that there is a level of quality difference between studios. The same way some comic books come out and they suck, and some comic books come out and they're good. And you're like, oh, it's not a system. It's somebody who made this is more talented or less talented. The reason Naughty Dog makes amazing games is because they're full of incredibly talented people, not because they found like a secret formula to make the PlayStation work harder. They're full of amazing artists who render things amazingly well. Like there's a lot of talent there, and I think people often forget. There's not just an overflow of that kind of talent. There's not just AAA developers, coming out the industry's nose. There's a certain amount of people who are really good at what they do, and they're highly in demand, and they make great games. There aren't 10 Kojimas. There aren't. There's one, and you can only make one game. And so when people sit back and they're like, well, this isn't Kojima's Metal Gear, like, well, yeah, because he's doing something else. You can't have two of him. And it's not the PlayStation. It's not the design company. It's one man's genius shining through, and you're seeing it. And you need to understand and respect that level of talent. Chewbacca agrees.
Yes.
You need to understand and respect that level of talent because you just don't get it everywhere. And sometimes it doesn't come down to the console, and sometimes it doesn't come down to the manager, and sometimes it doesn't come down to anything but the talent of the people working on it.
Yeah, but people don't see that shit. They want to keep it simple,
No, that's too nuanced.
System. Yeah, it's exactly. It's the system. It's only the system. Like, no, dude, the talent behind it, man.
The thing is that people can do amazing things even with a limited palette, and I think that's the thing. It's like console games. That's fine. You can still work within that framework, which a lot of companies do work very well within the console framework. That's not the PC.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're talking about this because Sony, in my opinion, stupidly said the PS4 Pro is meant to compete against PC.
That is bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was dumb.
I mean, my
computer. The exact quote. The exact reason why is that they noticed that there was like a mid-generation jump from consoles to PCs. So the PS Pro is like their answer to people, or it's Sony's answer to stop people from jumping over to PCs.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not directly competing with PCs. That's just a oversimplification of what they said.
This is Brian sticking up for Sony right now.
This is really weird. I know. I've now become like new Tony.
Brian, we're switching places now, man. I'm telling motherfuckers I'm telling motherfuckers worry about frame rates, fuck textures, and now you're defending Sony. What is happening here?
I'm gonna go, and I can't believe Brian's defending Sony, and then I'm gonna come out and tell Brian why PC is better than Sony. Can the PS Pro actually play an unadulterated Minecraft, or are we still that far behind the curve?
Well, I'm gonna do a reverse hip hop gamer because hip hop gamer always goes, "Oh, can a PC play Uncharted?" I'm gonna go, "Can a PS4 play Star Citizen?"
No, not even Star Citizen. Fucking Minecraft.
It can, but a very gimped version of Minecraft.
Okay. Your console, that should be the benchmark, I think. Like, that should be the thing that shames people out of the room. Like, oh, we're running at 60 frames. Can you run Minecraft yet? No? Then get the fuck out of the room and let the adults talk.
Oh, shit. Yeah, the adults play Minecraft.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is not coming to PC. Where's your Red Dead 2 on PC, guys?
Oh, Brian, what's happening here? What the fuck?
No, he's saying that because I said that shit about GTA.
Yes, that's true. Flipping.
We're in some bizarre world now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm over here screaming, Square, put Final Fantasy 15 on PC. What's happening right now?
No, they have an exclusive.
They're gonna fly that guy out from Japan just to say that, right?
We have exclusive.
Oh man,
they have
like
25 versions of the game, but yet none on PC. What the hell's up with that, Square?
Listen, you can play. You can play last Final Fantasy game on PC.
Listen, by the way, I want to give.
You reckon Final Fantasy? We will make it's Final Fantasy Online. You could play that.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to my site geek.com for letting me post that headline. Final Fantasy 15 pre-orders are a big fuck you to fans because they are. Oh my god, it's Watch Dogs 2 all over again. You know, but we'll talk about that another day. Anyway, any other thoughts on the PS4 Pro before we move on?
Any news on whether or not it will be coming in white?
Brian, it'll come out in white in 2 years.
Or you could just buy the Japanese version.
Or the Japanese one.
Yeah, because the Japanese love colors.
Do they have a white one in Japan though?
They may now.
Do people still buy colored consoles?
I like colored consoles.
You buying them?
Do I buy them? I have a blue PlayStation.
Dude, custom console skins are where it's at.
Fuck them console skins, man. I don't want to put no stickers on that shit.
I said custom console skins.
Put some stickers. Let's have some stickers on your console.
I mean, you putting stickers on my console?
Yeah, I'm gonna go open up my Nintendo Power and stick a big sticker on my fucking Nintendo. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, you tell that to my Ryoki and Satsuki custom PS4 covers that are fucking sweet. They're nice. They're high quality vinyl.
Wait, what? Okay, Brett. This is gonna be a case of pictures or it doesn't exist.
No, I know what he's talking about. It's a site, and they make all these crazy vinyl skins for almost everything.
Brett's PS4 right now. Fuck that. I'll stop the whole show.
So how does it feel to stick color forms onto your console?
Yeah. Brett, you gonna let him talk shit about you, man? You gonna let him talk shit about you?
Oh wait, I can't bring my like. Okay, I'll go get pictures of it.
No, Brett, I'm fucking with you.
I'll be an asshole. Cool. I'm sorry.
No, it's. I was kind of against it, but then when we got them, I was shocked by how quality they are. And I'll be honest, at this point, like.
Look at Danny, you putting stickers on your shit, man.
No, I said they're color forms. Color forms are vinyl, and they come right off.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. Like the things that you put on your like the windows on the holidays and shit. It feels like a higher class version of that. But here's the thing that I hadn't thought about. My PS4s aren't scratched. I can set a controller on top of them, and they don't scratch.
There you go.
Oh shit! I like what Barry Burns said here. By the way, Barry, I didn't ignore your question from last week. I just didn't fucking see it until the end of the show. So we'll answer you on 3 questions. But he goes, on console players will have a major online advantage on cross-platform play since PC gamers will be staring at reflections and puddles while console gamers frag their asses the kingdom come.
No, what'll happen if they'll just be all cheating on the PC version.
Oh, Groon dose to reality from Manny.
Yes. All right, let's move on here. We actually have a bunch of topics here, so we're gonna do a little bit of a rapid fire, but not too much rapid fire because we like to go in. Okay, we got to talk about kind of funny. I would never in my life think that I would be on a podcast putting Greg Miller and Colin Mario, but Greg Miller on blast. This is like the height of fucking, I hate to use this word, privilege, right?
What?
So people are asking him, why aren't you covering the PS4 Pro? And they're like, oh, kind of funny, didn't get sent any by Sony, so we're not going to cover it. Are you fucking kidding me? Look at Throwdown. We have 3 motherfuckers, except for Carlos. He's fucking rich. Actually, no. I'm the only broke motherfucker. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Whoa. You hold on a fucking minute.
Really? You're the only broke motherfucker.
No, who's the only broke motherfucker buying a Pro?
So says the one with the tiny graphics card, and you're broke.
Why do you think I'm broke?
Fair enough.
Cry me a river. Oh, I just bought a crazy expensive graphic card and I can't buy a PS4. Oh.
I bought a PS4 Pro though. But my point is, I bought it. I'm just a regular motherfucker. I'm basically poor. I afforded this shit, no problem. You're gonna tell me Funny or Die with all those patrons couldn't afford a PS4 Pro? Get the fuck out of here, man. Full of shit.
I definitely think I feel like they should still invest in it.
Yeah, $400.
It doesn't matter.
They could fight their ass for $400.
Still gonna get it. I mean, they did get the PlayStation. VR. They did get that. So
here's the thing, though.
Sure, someone will send it to them.
Here's the thing. I think eventually they'll probably
shit.
I'm thinking the whole thing is that it's all early, that early shit. Like, hey, how come you didn't do it right away when it first came out? Oh, because we didn't get it. I mean, obviously, yes. In that sense, it does make sense.
But they could have bought it.
Yeah, if you bought it. But I mean, the thing is that you can't do a full-on super review right away.
Well, how much of a review do you need? You buy that
Digital Foundry got it like earlier in the month.
Yeah,
and they already
did
have
the analysis.
They already have content, so I feel like with the funny guys, it's like eventually they'll get to it. But I feel like that was the wrong way to say it.
It probably got lost in the mail. I mean, they have PS I Love You XOXO. I mean, how much more of a fanboy?
I guess if you have a dedicated show, we refuse to review it. Get the fuck out of here.
Did they say refuse?
Manny,
yeah, they did.
I think that was the wrong way to put it, right?
Yeah.
They do definitely have a fan cast for PlayStation. So it sounds entitled when you say, oh, we didn't get it, so we didn't review it. Like, he could have just said, we haven't started our review. Put it in another way.
Mm-hmm. You could even say like we couldn't get our hands on a review copy, so we're having to test out.
We'll get one when the console comes out.
Yeah,
they didn't say that though. They didn't say that. They said we're unwilling to review it because we didn't get a copy. Get the fuck out of here.
Don't ever say. Don't
Funny or
ever
Die.
Like they fucking deserve like they're entitled to some review. Like, excuse me for not bowing down to the ethical tower that is Funny or Die and sending our review system.
Number one,
out of here.
Number one, they are not a corporation. They are just some Joe Schmoes who do some shit on the internet, just like anybody else.
Have a lot of motherfucking patrons.
They have a lot of patrons, but they're still independent. So if Sony doesn't feel, it says like, hey, listen, you're gonna probably get that shit anyway. So whatever.
Yeah, but still, they couldn't just bought it.
They can go buy it. And to be honest, it's like they should never say stupid shit like that.
I think they were just being pissy that Sony didn't send it to them. And I think it's just some kind of small temper tantrum. Well, if you're not going to send it to us, then we're not going to review it. Like,
yeah, that's what it is.
Number one, just for those guys, it's like, you guys, again, you're independent. There's no guarantees that you're going to get any of this shit. And just because you had Yoshida on your show, don't mean you're guaranteed anything either. So,
well, no, I think the reason this bothers me so much is like you should be planning not to get a review copy.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. You
should be planning on doing a review in spite of not getting it. And then if you happen to get one, you're like, oh, that's nice and that's convenient, but that's the only way that you stay out of people's fucking pockets. If you leave the option open as to whether or not you're going to do a review of something, if you leave that open as to whether or not you get a review copy of it, then you are already showing bias. Have the integrity to just say, I'm going to review this, I'm going to do it either way, and then if they don't send you something, then fucking do it on your own. Like, that's I'm baffled by the idea that this is lost on anybody. And to simply say, I'm not going to do a review because I didn't get a review copy of this thing, exposes that previous bias. It exposes the fact that you were biased before you even made the fucking decision. It shows a flaw in the fundamental process that shouldn't be ignored. I'm not even upset about the fact that they didn't review it. I'm upset behind the fundamental principles behind it and the fact they were flawed before they even opened the fucking door.
Yeah, and by the way, what you just explained right now is exactly how I go about shit. I've been in this industry for like 4.5 years, right? To this day, I still have the mentality of, okay, I'm not gonna get sent shit. Let me buy it. And when I do get sent something, I'm like, oh great, I don't have to buy it now. But I'm always willing to buy it because it's my duty. Because people want to see what the fuck I want to say about something, right? I never think, oh, I'm not gonna get it. Fuck it, I guess I won't be reviewing it. Then there's certain shit like Call of Duty. It's like if I don't get a copy of that, I'm not gonna review it. I don't give a fuck about that game. But if it's something I care about, I'm gonna buy it regardless. I don't give a fuck. If I don't have to pay for it, that's a bonus. Either way, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, it's that privilege bullshit. Because remember, these guys both come from IGN, so they still have the highfalutin bullshit about them. You know, like, oh, we deserve it. You know, we're gonna get copies. You know, that even though they're supposed to be independent, they still have that air about them. You know, and I would expect it more from Greg Miller because he's the guy who's supposed to be the everyman, and he's up on this bullshit. I expect it from Colin Moriarty because he definitely has air up his ass. But nah, Greg, man, like this, you know,
this shit is not acceptable.
Colin has changed. He has definitely changed. He is not the same man.
How has he changed? He's always been that Long Island asshole. You know?
No. He's opened up more to the asshole. It's more like I don't understand what happened. I guess maybe it's like maybe that was always him, and he was sort of being held back, you know, at IGN. But it's a true him. I mean, yeah, it's pretty sad.
How many people here like Top Gear?
I like Top Gear. I like when
Brian's muted. I know he loves Top Gear.
Yeah, I was like, I'm shocked Brian's not in on this.
Oh,
yeah.
He's like, did someone say Top Gear?
No, the US one is trash, Brian.
No, not the fucking US one.
We're talking about the only Top Gear. I don't know what US version. What are you talking about?
I watched the old version. Because the new version has the guy from Friends, and that's not.
Yeah, no. That we're talking about the only Top Gear, Brian. I'm not sure where you're getting confused.
Yeah. There's no.
Brian, you're Brian. Man.
Brian,
I had to be sure.
Top Gear ended quite a while ago. I don't know what other versions you could be thinking of.
Yeah, I stopped watching once they made fun of Mexicans. I was like, fuck these fucking guys.
Oh, what did they say about Mexicans?
Nah, they're I think they're talking about like a car, like a Mexican car. He's like, oh, the car represents its people. It's like lazy and fat and
what?
I forgot what else. Yeah, it's on YouTube. I was like, I'm not gonna watch these guys anymore.
I can't believe it.
Wow.
I'd believe it. They're pretty inflammatory all around.
It's not live. You would think they would edit that out.
You know like you could do a Mexican stereotype that's not horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this car is hardworking like a Mexican. You know, no one was gonna get mad over that shit. And the car likes to eat tacos too.
Anyway, the point I was making is this: like I've seen episodes of Top Gear where the car maker refuses to send them like a car to test drive or something like that. So they will go out and rent, lease, or I've seen it a couple times, they'll buy the car just so that they can rip on it. Just so they can be like, well, they didn't want to send us one, so guess what? We went out and we bought one, and then we proceeded to tear it apart. Like,
hey, that's the same reason I bought an Xbox One. Oh, yeah, I'm fucking I'm lying.
Listen, now that I hear a wave coming toward you, it's a tsunami.
Hey, but that is the reason I'm gonna buy the Switch, though. I'm gonna tear that motherfucker up. I love instigating motherfuckers. Anyway,
what if you like it? What if you like it?
Right? It could be the greatest thing ever. Hey, I'm not.
It could be the greatest thing ever. Hey.
It's shit on the PS4 and the Xbox.
I like it better than the PS Vita, eh?
Anyway, Brett, go ahead, man. Make your point. Top Gear, something.
Just from everything for like, okay, so I wouldn't expect this. I have proof that even when reviewing cars, you don't do that kind of shit. So it's not a price of an item kind of thing.
Even
and on the other end of the spectrum,
yeah,
and at the other end of the spectrum, if somebody fucking reviewed potato chips, but they refused to review the new Lay's flavor because Lay's didn't send them a bag, you'd be like, that's bullshit. Like, fucking for 1 second, take this out of context and take it out of the little world that we all know and love, which pretty much means let's all collectively pull our heads out of our asses and realize that we are part of an industry that has this really weird, fucked up practices that we've just kind of come to accept as, this is the shit sandwich that I get to eat. I mean, just because there's always shit on my sandwich. So, like, let's take it out of context and, like, don't accept it. Like, I'm pissed that there's not more outrage against these Funny or Die people. Just in the sense of like, look, if you're gonna be a tantrum throwing, biased asshole. What's that?
Funny or Die is a different thing.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, Brent. I know who you're talking about. They're probably assholes too.
Yeah, that's Will Ferrell's thing.
Yeah. No, sorry. I got caught up in my own tempo.
Don't worry about it, bro. We're gonna be talking about NDPs in a bit.
Oh God.
I'm never gonna stop giving you shit about that. NDPs is NPDs, man.
Yeah, you keep making fun of the dyslexic kid.
Hey, I have dyslexia and I know MPD.
Oh.
Okay, now you're just being an ableist motherfucker.
Yes.
We need to join.
Finish up your point, Brad. By the way, I'm thinking about that analogy. Imagine it's like, yo, motherfucker, pay 25 cents to get the bag of chips and review it. What's wrong with you? You know?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm getting hungry. Can you stop talking about chips?
My only point was stop accepting bullshit practices just because they're in an industry where you're used to bullshit practices.
Yeah.
We're not going to make this any better unless we start holding people's feet to the fire. And that starts with, how about you be unbiased as opposed to basically trying to blackmail a company? Like, you're no better than fucking Yelpers who try and blackmail somebody into a free lunch. Like,
what the fuck?
You've never heard of that shit? Oh God,
No.
Yelpers are the most terrible people in the world. They'll threaten people with a bad Yelp review just to get free shit.
Wow,
it's the same shit you see here.
Someone do that shit. Yo, man, I'm gonna threaten you with a bad review. Give me that shit for free.
Well, it's essentially what these people are doing. It is no better. Like, send us a free send us a free $400 piece of tech, or I'm basically going to give you a review / not, or a bad review / not review you. And I'm going to throw you under the bus when I do it.
I think they're mad because they know Yoshida and he didn't give them a free console. It's like they feel like outraged, you know, like, why? I thought we were buddies and you're gonna do me like that.
You should see how much fucking money they get from Patreon, man.
That's what I'm saying. You complaining? Fuck you.
Who are you talking about?
The Funny or Die guys.
No, the kind of funny games.
Fuck damn it, Brett.
Kind of funny. If you look at it, I mean, they dropped. They went from 26,000 a month to 22. So I mean,
they have two. They have two.
Wait, their Patreon is dropping?
It's dropping.
Good. I hope it drops more after this. All right, let's move on here. All right.
In fact, it was brought up again because Colin was on a whole political rant on Twitter, and somebody. I'm just saying that somebody brought it up. They were like, "Well, you know, just because of that, I'm, you know, what you call it,
See, and this is
myself from Patreon
on this fucking show.
He removing himself from Patreon, and I went on just to take a look, and I noticed I was like, it was 26 before, now it's 22.
Wow. Well, there you go. Whatever.
Here's the thing. There's two. This is just like in the workplace. There's two things that you need to stay away from: politics and fucking religion.
Wait. So people don't want to hear our unsubstantiated political views? You guys don't want to hear what I think about Roe vs. Wade?
Yep. Let it rip.
Just video games, huh? Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's just talk about Taft.
Yeah, right.
Was Johnson a good president? Share your answers of why.
All right, let's move on here. So October NPDs came out. You know how they do the bullshit now where they split them in half, hardware, and then next week is the fucking software. So as I predicted, I think all of us predicted this, Microsoft Xbox One S wins for the 4th month in a row. Right? No surprise.
They're gonna keep winning.
Keep rolling. And they're gonna win next month, Tony.
Skate 3 just went over. Skate 3 went over, and that's enough. That's enough.
That shit is done next month because you know what? Like I said, we said this many times. The reason no one's buying a PS4, regular PS4, is because the Pro is on the horizon. This month's gonna be very different. You know when they get the NPDs.
Do you also think that, Tony? Like,
hell yeah, dude! It's new hardware. People are gonna buy that shit. You know,
me and Adam are gonna return our shit just to prove you wrong, man.
Yeah,
you motherfuckers.
But they don't count that. They don't count when you sell your shit back.
Yeah, they don't count that. You know,
I mean, just from personal experience, I know at least 6 people who have bought a PlayStation Pro this week. I don't know anybody.
Bought this shit. It's crazy, man.
Well, 3 of them are here in this chat. So.
Yeah, like I don't know anybody that's bought a new Xbox recently.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
I know somebody bought a new Xbox
a couple months ago.
Yeah, months ago. Yeah, exactly.
Not you.
But then at the same time, it's like the Slim sales hasn't done shit though.
Obviously, because who's gonna buy a Slim when the PS4 Pro's coming?
Oh,
who doesn't have a PlayStation 4?
And here's the whole rabbit hole conversation about how does the mainstream audience know that a PS4 Pro was coming along?
But we're not talking about but we're not talking about that. We're talking about like
according to Mark Cerny, it's for the enthusiasts.
Are the hardcore like really like in like the millions of people that like will actually push? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But I still maintain that
hardcore market to like push like these sales past the Xbox, and I just think that I just don't think that there is enough because
I think so. I like I said, I'm going to repeat again. I think Sony is going to win NPD November, December. Beyond that, I don't know, because I think all the hardcore guys are going to buy it, and that's it. They're done. So we're going to see after that. This is going to be a test to see if iterative consoles are actually a thing people are going to go for it. But the first 2 months, just like with the Oculus Rift and that other shit, it's going to, sell out. People love new tech, and the PS4 Slim, I know it's new tech, but it's a PS4. There's nothing different about it. Xbox One S at least has the 4K, Blu-ray player and all that other nonsense in it.
Dude, case in point, like let's just take what we have here as a microcosm. Like, did any of us buy the PS4 Slim? No. Why? Because we already had a PS4 and it didn't do anything new. Now, of the people in this room, when a PlayStation came out that did something new, 3 of us fucking bought it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
50% of the room. I mean, if that doesn't say why it would work that way in the wider market, then I don't know what else to tell you.
But then, like, that's amongst us. Like, we are okay. Not sound like a pompous asshole, but like we are like the educated ones. Like, we know that these things are happening.
Well,
like,
we're a cross section of enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But like the general Joe Smo, like I don't think that they even know that PS4 Pro like even exists. Like they probably just see the adverts.
Mostly because Sony's been doing as always, Brian, a piss poor job marketing.
But the thing is that
and this is where the things get like really funny, Tony, because I have to like defend them on that again. Okay, in the underground system in London, anytime there's an advert for any video game, it's always with the PlayStation 4 Pro in the picture. Like I've seen Dishonored, I've seen Tomb Raider, like any video game in general. And I mean any video game. It's always with the PlayStation Pro
that
there. Unless it's Gears of War.
But
seriously.
like, for example, did they ever advertise the PlayStation 4 as an entity? Not just as a sidebar to a video game.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically they have like a supercharged like PS4 with like blue lights coming out from the side saying, "Hey, PS4 Pro supercharged now." It's like, okay, cool. On like the side of buses, like in London. So yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, you guys do things differently. Like, don't you have like video game advertisements before movies? Like, that's crazy too.
It's mostly video games and movies on side of buses and random fashion stuff and perfume.
Dude, I haven't seen a PlayStation ad, like just a PlayStation ad, since like Kevin Butler.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
If you're talking about TV wise, I also have not seen that many on TV, so that is a bit weird. But I don't know. Maybe they just changed the strategy.
Yeah, no, they always Sony always does that shit. They never advertise their stuff. But anyway, just to wrap this up, we don't need to talk about it too much. But yeah, obviously the Xbox guys are thumping their chest. This is the end of Sony, even though it's like you guys are realizing the NPD are just America, right? Worldwide, Sony's still murdering, so it ain't closing the gap.
To be honest, it's still murdering in the UK. Like Xbox is still selling PlayStation. Like once again, like
and in Australia too. Just to be fair,
This is why I have a problem with like
it's going to continue, and I think it's all because of backward compatibility. I think a lot of people are wising up. A lot of their favorite. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's a big deal for key games. You joke about the Skate, but Skate, a lot of people like to play skateboarding games, and that's the only one you can play. And look at same thing with Red Dead. People like cowboy games, and that's still the only badass cowboy game.
Adam, I got to ask you a serious question now. You think Skate 3 is going to sell Xboxes?
I think it will encourage people that were like, man, I don't know. I still play my Xbox and I only play it with Skate or whatever sport games. And then they're like, damn, now it's on this system. Now I don't have to buy a new one. I can play it on my new box.
Also, don't underestimate nostalgia. One of those. Well, there's not a whole lot of games out, but if I do get an Xbox, I can play whatever new games. Plus, I loved Skate. Like, remember Skate? That I could totally play that on an Xbox now too. Like,
and you could play it online, and they're supporting it. They turn the servers back on. That's the other thing.
It may not sell Xboxes, but it may be the tiebreaker that sells an Xbox.
Oh, they're doing something completely different. Also, they included the DLC free for a limited time. So now it's like you get all these extra skate parks and all this stuff, and they turn the servers back on.
And those Xbox One S ads are everywhere. You like
I don't see any of those either.
At the movie theaters, like before I saw Doctor Strange, I saw a freaking S ad.
Yeah, and on the sporting events, like I watch football and basketball all the time, and they're always there.
Yeah, they advertise during sports. They have a lot of YouTube ads. Like when I watch YouTube, a lot of Xbox One S ads come up.
You know what's funny? Sony got Skype. Every single time if you have Skype, every single time I turn it on, I see a Shadow of the Last Guardian ad. I'm like, that's kind of funny.
That's actually very ironic, actually.
Yeah,
you know.
So let me I need to ask: does anybody think that these sales are actually representational of anything now? Like it seems to me that there's so many different factors going into it. Like, like you could have a drop in PlayStation sales because you've hit critical mass or complete saturation of an audience, and then you release a new product and things go differently. Like I don't know if you can just take these as basic stats of interest or how healthy a company is. In fact, I think that we're warping and taking them so far out of context that they don't really mean anything anymore. Am I the only one that feels that way?
No, I never thought about it, but you did bring up a good point, though. But the thing is, if they're not relevant now, when were they relevant?
I don't think they were ever relevant. Like, why are we using this as a metric to measure the high watermark of like active users when you can actually just monitor the active users? I mean, we why are we paying attention to how many points somebody scored? It's like watching a football game and tallying the points by quarter. You do realize you can judge how many PlayStations are out in the wild and how many Xboxes are out in the wild, judge how big somebody's customer base is. You can look at their profits, which are all public record. Like there are all these other metrics to measure, but we still sit around and be like, well, this many people bought an Xbox this month. Like it fucking matters. And it's
well, for investors it matters.
I was saying this before. The thing is, the console selling doesn't mean a damn thing because half the time, most of the companies like PlayStation and Xbox, and Microsoft are taking a hit. What matters is what games are selling.
Yeah, that's the one I really like seeing. But the thing is, it's
because
still
that's where they make the money.
Yeah, but it's still interesting to see, like, hey, year over year, how much is the industry growing or shrinking? People still like that,
That is interesting, especially in hindsight. I'm sitting here, especially since they split it up into like hardware and software sales. Like I now find the hardware sales aspect of it completely pointless. Like it's weird statistical fodder for people's imaginary brand wars. Like it doesn't.
Oh, thank you for bringing up, because that's the real reason we still talk about this. It's because of the console wars. That's what people, because let's just be honest, NPD is easy. Oh, Microsoft won, Sony won, and they could, thump their chest and measure their dicks with it. That's all it really is about, to be honest, for the fanboys. That's why we're more on Throwdown. We're more interested in the software sales. That's what we like seeing. Especially Brian, because he likes seeing GTA up there every fucking month. Brett, I actually completely agree with you. And in the bigger scheme of things, it doesn't really fucking matter. But it's still interesting even if you're not a fanboy. It's still kind of interesting to see. Hey,
it's very interesting. Yeah. I think we just need to put a warning sticker on it. Like nobody should be able to point to these and use them as any kind of concrete example to win any kind of argument.
Yeah.
Well, that's any conversation with video games.
Yeah. I agree. I think the general rule should be like if you point out the monthly sales, then you automatically lose the argument.
So, yeah, because it's just a month, All right, let's move it on.
Can I just ask like a quick question? Was there any other racing game out this year apart from Forza?
That is a damn good question. Like major AAA game, right?
Or just any racing game? Because I'm going through like the thing, and then it's like, yeah, we also had Forza Horizon 3, the highest rating and best-selling racing game of the year. I'm like, if it's the only one, then yeah.
If it's you automatically win, Just like, what was that bullshit they pulled last year? It was like we're the only system that has the top 10 games of the year. Some bullshit like that. It's like, yeah, because Sony doesn't have Halo, so that's why you have all the top 10 games. Some bullshit. But speaking about NPDs, this is kind of related. every time we see NPDs, right, the software sales, what do we see besides GTA? What do we always see?
Minecraft.
FIFA.
And
what?
you guys are taking a long way around. I can't believe you guys didn't say this shit.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, right? That's the NPD king. It finally happened. Infinite Warfare, the lowest selling Call of Duty game on launch day.
But then again, like low selling by how much? Like
no, it's still sold a lot. It's like with the whole Pokemon Go thing. It's like they lost like 5 million users and they still had 13 million. So you know what I'm saying? But they still lost, and that's actually significant because we've never seen Call of Duty lose before.
That makes me sad.
No, it happened when Ghost came out. It was like a massive drop.
To this extent, because they're saying
well, there's been a little bit like more of a
this
drop.
Is a 50% drop. Yeah, this is a 50% drop.
And the ironic thing is the reason why people are leaving this game is for the dumbest reasons, because it's in space, not because it's freaking iterative and it's out every freaking year.
It's not fun. I just have no fun with it. I was playing. I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty. It definitely.
I think that hits the nail on the head. Like, I think it hit a weird middle mark where it's enough of a departure from the franchise to turn, loyal players off. And they kind of reached out. They kind of did what Nintendo did and reached out for all those like Mass Effect players. And there are guys like me who are like, ooh, space. But the problem is, I got lulled in just long enough to be like, wait a minute, this is a Call of Duty game. 90% of the Call of Duty game is multiplayer, and the multiplayer is going to feel exactly the same. So I think it fell off. Like it strived to reach a new audience, and it alienated some of its base audience while failing to capture a new audience. Because I know there's a bunch of people that went, oh, this game looks pretty cool. Wait, no, this is Call of Duty. No.
It's like not falling for the rope-a-dope.
I almost did. How many of you almost fell for it? Be honest.
Well, I said,
yeah, man.
I was like, hey, space. Well, okay. So
I got it. I thought it was going to be
good. Then we were like, oh, wait, it's still going to be Call of Duty at the end of the day. So we backed off. You got a nice new packaging. We like the packaging, but it's still the same bullshit potato chips in that package.
Yeah, and I see the cover of that game, and I'm like, I'm never gonna look at Kit Harington and not see Jon Snow.
Yeah, it's Jon Snow, and apparently he's supposed to be some grizzled military leader. He looks like a 19-year-old kid. Get out of here.
Who likes him? Why did we take him? Why did we take the least popular character from Game of Thrones? The one everybody's like, I fucking hate you. The one that was
who says that about Jon Snow?
The whole Jon Snow knows nothing. He was the only character that was a meme for being an idiot.
Okay, but yeah, like, I thought people like Jon Snow.
No,
like him.
People like him, but he's one of the most disliked. Like, not disliked, like, oh, I hate you, Joffrey. Like, disliked, like this fucking guy again. He's this close to Sansa. He is this close.
Jon Snow was playing the role of the reader, where he gets everything explained to him.
And by the way, man, how wrong is it to see Jon Snow or Kit Harington driving a fucking car? When I see this, I'm like, wait, he's not supposed to understand that sort of technology. He's in the medieval ages.
Oh man, you just what do they call it? You typecast him.
So cut your hair, man. You look like a barbarian.
Thank you. Cut your hair at least. Don't look like Jon Snow.
That's what I'm saying. So you got the beard and shit. You're fucking Jon Snow. You're a barbarian. You shouldn't be driving a car.
It's kind of like what's his face?
Kevin Spacey.
No, not Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's not typecast. It's like friggin' Leonidas. It's like you see him in any other movies, you're like, that's Leonidas. Why is he driving a car? How come he's saving Two-Face from
Gerard I can see because he at least had his hair cut, Fucking Jon Snow's with that big ass hair, the big beard. Like, no, dude, you should not be driving a car.
He can't cut that beard and hair off because he's got to do more episodes of Game of Thrones.
Well, exactly. Here's the thing that got me. When they put him in the car ad, and he's supposed to be playing this like smooth, sophisticated, like James Bond type.
How does it make you feel?
What? You are the opposite. Like, you make women's panties dry up because you have no confidence. You have no bravado. You have none of any of this stuff. But suddenly you're a smooth, sophisticated, like, you can't go from the guy who knows nothing to the man who knows everything. Like, you can't make that jump, man. I'm sorry, I know it's a tangent. It drives me fucking crazy every time I see it.
No, that's a perfect analogy, though. Oh man, it's almost like Tom Hanks being in a serious role. Oh, wait.
Oh, man. He was Saving Private Ryan. He was good in that. Shut up.
Yeah, no, he was good, but you know how long it took me to get there? When I saw Philadelphia, I'm laughing through the whole thing.
Said it
was a comedy.
They said it's up par with Saving Private Ryan. I want to see them.
What was that movie that Jamie Foxx did with Tom Cruise?
Mel Gibson one, right?
Collateral.
I thought that shit was a comedy until the end, just because of Jamie Foxx. I'm like, I'm laughing and shit. I'm like, oh wait, this is actually a drama, isn't it? You know. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, Call of Duty. So okay. So what do you think? This is attributed to just because it was in space. Is that it? Any other factors? Do you think people are just maybe finally sick of fucking Call of Duty?
No, because they wanted to play Modern Warfare 3 remastered.
Like Modern Warfare, regular Modern Warfare.
Oh, Modern Warfare remastered. I mean, a lot of people bought it just for that. They said there was not. I forgot the sales to online ratio was like low because people actually were playing Modern Warfare.
Oh shit! And let's just be honest. The reason they bundled the games together, you couldn't buy them separately because they knew nobody was going to buy Infinite Warfare. They'd rather buy Modern Warfare.
Right.
To be honest, they should have never have released that version of the game. It's almost like being in competition with yourself. You release that, or you release fucking Space Game, then wait a little while, and then get the other one in there.
I thought Modern Warfare was generally regarded as one of the departure from things that made the game good. Like I thought people kind of hated Modern Warfare.
Oh, no, people love that. That's the one that revolutionized everything, man.
That's the one that's like, hey, it's not World War II.
Nobody gave a fuck about Call of Duty until that game, dude.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Everybody still had a hard-on for World War II and killing Nazis.
No. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because Activision, it was Activision, right, who released the game. Because was it, and I'm forgetting not Respawn, was it Infinity War? They were like, hey, we want to make a modern game. Like, are you fucking crazy? Nobody wants to play a modern game. They want to play some World War II shit. It's like, okay, you make two games. You make one that's World War II, make another one that's in modern times. We'll see what happens. And then we all saw what happened when Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out. It revolutionized everything. Nobody went back to World War II after that.
Well, they did. Treyarch, the next game was World at War, and I think that was a World War II game. But it was.
Yeah, but what's funny about that? Everybody that played it, who did play it, said it was a great game, but the mass majority didn't play it because like fuck World War II. We're in modern times now. Call of Duty was like even like you couldn't get away from that shit. That's part of the reason I can't stand Call of Duty because for years you just Call of Duty was like shut the fuck up with this shit already.
Didn't Battlefield go back to?
It did. But look how long it took us to go back there. It took a decade basically.
Well, this is their first time actually doing a World War I.
Yes.
But you see what I mean? Every game has been either modern or sort of futuristic. Battlefield was like, nope, we're going way further back. But you couldn't make a fucking World War II game for an entire generation because of Call of Duty. It's crazy.
Hey, remember when Call of Duty had that connection with Steven Spielberg?
Really? Oh, because of Band of Brothers or something?
Because of Band of Brothers, yeah.
But the thing is, okay, not to undersell the previous Call of Duty games. Those were very highly regarded games, right? But Modern Warfare took it to a whole other level, man. It's crazy. But it looks.
I knew people loved the gameplay. I thought people didn't like the setting or the campaign, but it didn't matter.
No, they loved
the campaign.
Yeah,
everything. The campaign was what brought that big budget feel.
Campaign was like, even for someone that shits on Call of Duty, the campaign was freaking amazing to me. Like it had if you remember, the airport scene was like something that we've never seen in a video game before. The sniper scene.
Remember, it had that warning, had that parental warning of like, you don't have to do this. Leading up to that scene, you can skip this.
Oh, no Russian?
No Russian.
It was just when you're playing as a Russian, killing everybody at the
no Russian as that scene has been called. Yeah, Call of Duty changed everything, and then every other game tried to be like, even fucking Final Fantasy 13. The developer said we wanted to make it a little bit more like Call of Duty, make it fast. It had I still say had a bad effect on games, but some people like that shit. Anyway, let's move on here. So this is a funny one. So Capcom wants to release PS4 and Xbox games, on Switch. Yeah, with 4 gigs of RAM. No, you ain't.
And I want to shit solid gold nuggets. Let's see what happens first.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. Capcom is gonna just have just their what do they call it? Their work ahead of them, trying to squeeze that huge square into that little tiny box.
Wait, Manny, I think I got it. Because technically speaking, Resident Evil 4 is a PlayStation 4 game. Yeah. Resident Evil 0 is a PlayStation 4 game.
Yeah, it's just going to be ports.
Yes, it's just going to be ports. So you're going to...
No.
You know that's what it's going to be.
No, I'm sorry. I have personal history of this. They will do the same shit they did when they brought Dead Rising to the Wii. They will destroy this fucking game. They will cut it off at the knees and just gimp it.
Hey, listen.
But a shadow of it.
Listen. Resident Evil 4 was on a GameCube, so it should run perfectly well on the Switch.
It won't though.
Yeah.
It won't. It fucking won't, man. Okay. For what Brett's talking about is when they brought Dead Rising to Wii, it had like 10 zombies on. There
was a total of like maybe 10 zombies on the screen. Let me break this down for you. Dead Rising, the game where you run around an open world fighting hordes of zombies by picking up miscellaneous items to bash through these hordes of zombies, cleverly combining them and with crude use of humor and minimal gun work that doesn't even fucking work. And pretty much delays you away from all of that. They took that and changed it to a game where it was limited zones. There were 10 zombies on the screen. You could pick up a total of like maybe 5 or fucking 6 items altogether throughout the whole game. And they turned it into a gunplay game where you use the fucking Wiimote to aim an insignificant, ineffectual fucking pistol at zombies that did nothing. It was broken visually. It was broken gameplay-wise. And I paid full fucking price for that motherfucker because I like Dead Rising. Like, it was an inexcusable game. It should never have been sold. They cut out 80% of the features and 80% of the graphics. They ruined the game just so they could say that they put it out. Just so it could be out on the fucking Wii.
Remember when Call of Duty was on there?
Yeah, it would gimped Call of Duty. That's right.
They gimped everything.
All right, Chris, what are your thoughts, man?
My thoughts? Good luck.
I'm going right into it, man. I want to hear your shit.
No, good luck with that, because if you're gonna port Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 0, there's like a million versions of that. Nobody needs those games. It's damn sure RE7 ain't gonna be on there.
I was gonna say, what about RE7 on that shit?
Not possible. With the hardware spec, not possible. So you're just gonna get ports of old ass games, right?
Oh, Chris, I gotta stop you real quick. I think it was Mark, right? He sent me a screenshot of RE7, right? The minimum specs that you need. For PC, you need 4 gigs of RAM. Minimum.
Right. Yeah. And that's on a PC running on a reduced system like the Tegra hardware is much different than PC hardware, the x86 architecture. So either you're going to have Brett's scenario where you have this very, very gimped, limited port of it, which would be embarrassing at this point if they did it. They could do that though, or you're just not going to have it. That's the only 2 scenarios.
Or they're just going to take Monster Hunter for that PS2 game and put it on there.
Yeah, they could. They could just port Monster Hunter right from 3DS.
Yep, there you go.
And put it on there. Blow it up, it'll look ugly as shit.
Well, I mean, the 3DS resolution is almost the same as the Switch, the Switch gamepad resolution.
Womp womp.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know why Capcom made this statement. I really don't get it.
And it's the 2 worst companies, man. Fucking Capcom gimps their games to begin with. Imagine on a fucking Nintendo console where that's fucking like the fucking Switch, man.
I don't have to. Capcom released Dead Rising.
They're gonna port over Street Fighter V on the Switch with no lobbies, man.
Hey, listen. They managed to get Street Fighter 4 on a PlayStation Vita, so sure, why not?
Oh, by the way,
they had it on the cell phones too.
Yeah, Akuma's finally coming to Street Fighter V. We saw that shit coming.
It was in all the other ones.
Some fucking bullshit, man.
Where's Akuma?
Now with cheese.
Yeah. So yeah, Nintendo, man. Yeah, and the Capcom, like, no. But staying on the Nintendo train once again, I don't know why people don't fucking listen to us when it comes to Nintendo, right? Okay, so last week, a rumor came out, right? Actually, it was more of a report saying Wii U production is going to stop, right? It's going to come to stop by the end of the year. 2 days later, Nintendo said, no, we're not stopping the Wii U production. On this show, we said, specifically Chris, they're fucking lying. That shit's coming to an end this year. Guess what's happening? Officially.
Oh.
Wii U production stopping at the end of this year. We caught you fucking lying, Nintendo. Yeah. And nobody listened to us.
Oh, I'm afraid you're not going to be creating any more Wii U's.
Now, while we have your attention, and I'd like Chris to back me up on this, prepare for the end of 3DS too.
Oh yeah. I said that too on the same show. I said, just wait till the Switch launches. I give it 60 to 90 days. Wii U services will be shut off except for the Virtual Console because they still want your money, and 3DS production will cease. Right? They have no reason to continue producing the Wii U. They can't get rid of them, right? So why the hell are they gonna continue producing it? Even saying that was fucking dumb because Nintendo is a company where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Like, marketing in America will say one thing and then Japan will say something else, right? They can't keep their fucking story straight. And when you lie, you're gonna get caught in a lie, and they've done it before. Right, so I that was like an easy prediction. If you didn't see that coming, I don't know. So told you.
Yeah, thank you for that. No, you're right, because because I think I did a report on that. People were like, "What? No, dude, there hasn't been substantiated. You can't say that." I'm like, no, it's coming to an end. Stop with the bullshit, And then afterwards, people started making these fluff pieces talking about how the Wii U was actually a great success for Nintendo. Really, the console that they projected, and Nintendo projected itself that would sell 100 million consoles and only sold 13 million. That's a success.
They're talking about. They're not talking about this dimension. They're talking about another dimension in the multiverse.
Yeah, they have to be shit. So yeah, it's like, okay, what world are you living in right now?
Obviously, the upside down world that Doctor Strange goes into.
And then the other thing I love is like, okay, you're apparently talking shit about Nintendo because you're reporting on Nintendo. No, you're just reporting the fucking facts, Yeah. Like don't get me wrong. I don't get, the vitriol on the same level as you, Chris, but I get that bullshit myself, man. Whenever I post anything about fucking Nintendo,
Yeah, but they have to do mental gymnastics to try to argue with you because it's arguing from a point of intuition and feelings, right? They don't like what you have to say, so they jump on you without thinking. And then when you're like, well, I have the facts right here, right? Here are the facts. Then they get angrier, right? Because it's like they can't contest it. I get fanboys yelling at me all the time. Like I the same thing happened on the day of the Switch. I went on the React. We went on React. You heard what I had to say.
Yep.
I called some of the stuff. I wrote a freaking editorial last March telling what the NX was. And what is it? It's exactly what I said it was.
Yeah, but nobody fucking listened.
Nobody listened. And then people were arguing with me on Twitter. I said, look, those videos are fake, right? They got up in arms. This one guy came after me. He was so, no, look, Mario confirmed, whatever. I'm like, here's a video from E3, 2013. It's Legend of Zelda. I'm like, tell me, are you playing that? I haven't seen that game. You playing this? Right? I'm like, you don't understand tech demos.
Or the other one we talked about where literally Reggie says, "Oh yeah, we're using PlayStation 3 stuff to demo our Wii U."
Right, exactly. Oh, because it's all Power PC. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not the same fucking thing. But yeah, he was allowed to. They're allowed to get away with that with their fanboys all the fucking time. They're forgiven for every fucking thing, even lying. And
yeah, exactly. They bold-faced lie, and the Nintendo fans, they didn't say shit.
And that's what I was saying when we had Robert Workman on the show, and he was saying like he thought Nintendo learned. I told him, I said they haven't learned a fucking thing, and the Switch is going to be a disaster. And sure enough, they keep doing the same fucking things they've always done. They lie to you. They're pulling bait and switches, and the Switch is going to come out and be a fucking mess. Now I'm more cautious about it than I was when I saw the trailer. Shit. Now seeing their practices, they haven't learned a fucking thing. They haven't changed their tune. That means they haven't learned anything about motion controls, which worries me that the Joy-Cons may have that shit and they may program stuff against it, which is like you haven't learned that nobody wants gimmicky fucking motion controls, right? So that's part of my predictions now. You're going to have motion controls in that fucking thing. And that's going to be bad. And secondly, it's going to have a gimped UX. They don't know how to design a UX properly to accommodate users, and they don't test it against different regions. They go to like UK. They don't have guys like Brian sit in a room and say, "Here, we have this UX. Like, here's the user interface of the Switch, right? What do you think?" They don't do focus groups like that. And when they do focus groups like that, and Japan throws it away and says, "No, we like it." So you're gonna have a messy UX, I guarantee it. And they expect that to compete with tablets when you have streamlined shit like iOS has been out for years and Android, that you could seamlessly launch stuff and whatever. Like, forget it. I think that thing is gonna be a mess.
Yeah, the whole thing, man. Nintendo, but of course the fanboys are eating it up, you know.
Yeah. And look, they haven't shown shit for this console, dude. Nothing. Right. You know, no, that shit they showed in the trailer, that's not even gameplay. Get out of here with that shit. It's not real. You know? Yeah. And then when everybody was arguing with me, look, sure enough, Bethesda and 2K came out later that day.
They showed the new Zelda. The new Zelda looks cool. I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, it looks nice, but I didn't see it being played on this system.
Right. Oh, no. Well, no. I mean, but that's pretty normal for showcasing a game. Like, it's usually run on PC hardware while it's still in development. So
the thing is that no other company goes out and puts games that are not even going to appear on their console in their fucking sizzle.
I'm not defending them. What I'm saying is, like, when you talk about like, oh, they don't have any games out, like, not to be a contrarian, but just to be fair, like, the new Zelda looks cool. Like, I wish the new Zelda were coming out on PlayStation, because I'm sure as hell not buying a Switch just for that shit.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
you can buy a Wii U.
Yeah, look, I played it at E3. I said it was the best thing I played at E3. Of course, we played it on Wii U's. We didn't play it on a Switch. They didn't have the Switch ready. I honestly don't know what the hell is going on with its production. And they're so tight-lipped about it. No company has ever been tight-lipped. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what Nash says or whatever. This is inconceivable. No company has kept a console launch that is so close under wraps with no fucking details and no legitimate information like this ever. So this is suspect in the greatest detail. And everyone should be very cautious about this system.
Yo, man, we can't just jump on that train, man, the hype train.
Oh, you can be hyped if you want. That'll just make the disappointment all the more palpable if you want. You could do whatever. You could drive right off the cliff with Nintendo if you want. Like, I'm gonna watch.
I'll just jump on the coal train. Toot.
The coal train, baby.
Coal train.
Oh man. All right. And the last thing, I'm gonna end on a little bit of a nicer note here. The 10th anniversary of the PlayStation 3. You know, in Japan, of course. I don't think it came out in. Didn't they come out in the same time? Like, close.
I thought it did.
Like,
well, I got my PS3 2006.
Yeah. Okay.
November,
it must be like a week apart or something. You know, but because they specifically said it came out in Japan, 10 years ago. But I'm guessing it was only like a difference. But yeah, with the PS3, that was the first PlayStation console I actually liked. You know, and I'm gonna explain myself. People are gonna be like, "You didn't like the PS2." The PS2 was a great system. I just didn't like it because I had to buy it because the Dreamcast died. You know, it's like, okay,
let's be honest.
Back when
okay, who will back up? Okay, hardware-wise, yes, the PS2 was a piece of shit. It had a great fucking lineup of games, though.
Oh no, it had a great lineup of games. It was a miserable failure of architectural engineering.
Hey, I'm going back to Nintendo real quick. The GameCube was out at that point. GameCube looked way fucking better than the PS2 did. That was the last time Nintendo actually looked better than another console, you know? But yeah, PS3, again, that was the first system I actually it had some good games. I didn't buy that shit until like 2 years later almost, because the original ones, there was two SKUs, right? $500 and $600. I'm like, nope, I'm not buying either of these, man. And there was no games anyway, so there was no point, you know. I wanted
you didn't want to play other games on your PlayStation 3?
Yeah, like that. They had Lair and shit. I didn't care about that. Didn't have nothing. You know, I bought that shit like at the end of 2008, I believe. You know,
Metal Gear.
Yeah, actually,
2008 is when Metal Gear came out.
Okay, so I actually bought it end of 2007. Then
you bought it when Grand Theft Auto came out.
A month or two, yes. That's what got me. I'm like, GTA's coming, let's fucking go. And by that point, they had already lowered the price. And I missed.
Shoot, at that point, I was loving my Xbox.
Oh shit!
You were Xboxing.
Xbox.
I remember I bought Uncharted, I bought Ratchet and Clank, and Assassin's Creed. Those were the first 3 games I ever bought. And I remember when I play Assassin's Creed, even though I had my problems with Assassin's Creed, I'm like, yo, this shit is next gen. This is crazy. Like I felt it, you know. Ratchet and Clank was cool.
I remember playing Assassin's Creed at your place, Adam.
Yep.
And then this year, Tony, you bought Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank.
No Assassin's Creed though.
No,
you actually do have another Assassin's Creed game. You know what it's called? Watch Dogs 2.
But Syndicate was still this year. Syndicate came out earlier.
No, it came out last year. No, it came out last year. Oh yeah, and then of course, obviously that year they introduced trophies. That started a whole other obsession with me. I was getting platinums all day, every day, until I was like, Tony, just play the games, bro. You know.
No, you only did that after you became a journalist.
Yeah, because I had no choice, right? But you know when I really did slow down though, Final Fantasy 13 was the one that broke me. I spent 2 weeks trying to grind for this one fucking material that I needed for one trophy. Meanwhile, the GTA 4 DLC came out, right? And internally, I'm crying. I'm like, I want to play GTA, but I can't because I'm grinding for this bullshit in this game. I'm like, okay, slow your roll, man. Like, you know, this shit isn't cool. But yeah, go ahead.
But the GTA 4 DLC only came out for Xbox, though.
No, it didn't. It came out on PS4, man. PS3.
Really?
Yeah. Remember, okay, because I've been hyped for it for a year because it came out on Xbox, not on PlayStation.
It was on delay, right?
So when it finally came out, I was waiting and waiting. It finally dropped. I'm like, but I'm stuck here grinding for this fucking stupid material, you know? But yeah, I had a lot of fun with PS3, met a lot of cool people and stuff, you know. My first online gaming experience playing Metal Gear Solid 4 online, first time playing online, that was pretty interesting. Met a bunch of cool friends and stuff, but I also got introduced to the horrors of modern gaming, the installs, the patches, all this other nonsense, you know.
PSN.
No, nothing was as bad as playing the first Xbox Live. I remember doing that and had to get that separate with a separate disc and a headset. And even on the PS2, I remember plugging in the phone line on the back so that way I could play Tony Hawk online. You know, and it was horrible.
Yeah, well, you had that thing. You had the slot for the hard drive because they had the expansion port in the back, and then it didn't come with a hard drive. So what you did was you bought a hard drive and you bought the stupid internet thing too.
Yep.
PS3 to me was dope, man. Like that was the first system I bought. I'm like every month had a great game coming out. It was just crazy. Like you had all those games I mentioned. You had fucking Dead Space, and these were on Xbox, so you know, like Dead Space, and then like Seuss's like Infamous and fucking Last of Us and more Uncharted's great fucking system. Man. But what are some of you guys' memories of this?
See what you just mentioned, like Dead Space, like that was a game changer. Assassin's Creed,
that was
game changers. What's our game changer right now?
We're gonna get to that now.
Titanfall 2. I don't know any of them.
Shadow of Mordor.
Adam's skipping to the
end. No one's copied that. Think about it. That whole hierarchy of killing a boss and another one takes over. They're the only ones.
Everybody knows where it's from.
Yeah, there you go.
Shit. Well, Adam, you kind of skipped to that because this happened when we had our Super Nintendo discussion. We're talking about all the great Super Nintendo games, and at the end it's like, yo, what do we have now that's equivalent? We couldn't come up with shit. Same thing with PS3.
Titanfall. Just Titanfall 2.
Well, the funny thing is that, you know, when I personally started realizing this, because the Xbox 360 was discontinued a couple months ago, right? So I did an article talking about the best Xbox 360 games, which are also on PS3. I'm like, damn, man, last gen was good. What the fuck happened this gen?
And who told you about this? Like 2 years before?
Yeah, well, Carlos was ahead of the curve because, you know, I was being optimistic. I'm like, Carlos, give some time. Nothing's really changed.
I think it was just it introduced those new IPs, and then after that they were like, well, let's just keep growing on them. Let's give them more sequels. So that's pretty much it. That's what we've been rolling with, and they've been selling. So the popes just keep doing it. It's going to take for one like Assassin's Creed to die out and for them to go back to the drawing board. Hopefully they come back with something completely different, and then we're like, oh yeah, remember that? Yep. That's our new cycle right there.
And then, you know, this happened during the PS3 and Xbox 360, 2007, which I still maintain is the last great gaming like year. Like we had so many great IPs, but the thing is, like Adam, like you said, all those IPs that came out in 2007, we had 1 million of them, you know, by the end of the generation. Then we kind of didn't care about them anymore, you know? They just became watered down. Like we had a million fucking Call of Duties, a million fucking. Like,
all right. Well, how about this? What's one IP that was from that gen that you wish they did have a sequel for?
Ooh, I like this.
I'll start it off,
Yeah.
and then we keep going. Rockstar Table Tennis. I want another one. All right, next.
Hey, you already said it.
That wasn't on a PlayStation. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh
no.
Oh yeah, that's right. That wasn't.
Let's keep it to specifically. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw the whole script at. What are some of your favorite PlayStation 3 games exclusives?
Red Faction. Why did they discontinue Red Faction? They have more processing power now. God damn it.
Was Red Faction?
Someone owns it now. The guys who bought THQ own it.
Yeah, they may buy that shit.
THQ Nordic.
Yeah,
that's right. They changed their name.
They bought the name and they threw it on there. That's horrible.
And they just changed the name to THQ at that point.
Yeah. Well, they just did. Games. Now they dropped the Nordic.
Yeah, by the way, we want you guys in the chat to chime in. What are some of your favorite exclusives? Man, I know what your favorite exclusive was, man. Metal Gear Solid 4.
I would say Metal Gear Solid 4. I would say the Uncharted games.
Oh yes.
I would say. I also don't own a lot of PS3 games.
Hey, Brett, I got you, man. Infamous.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of what exactly are we talking about right now? Just our favorite games of the last generation, our favorite new IPs that emerged last generation?
Favorite PlayStation 3 exclusives. And we're talking about the 10th anniversary of the PlayStation 3.
Okay, so we're just going back there. Yeah. Well, one thing I need to get out of my head because it's not going to leave until I say it. When we're talking about games this generation, why does everybody conveniently forget Fallout 4? I realize that we're still right on the cusp of it. It still just came out, but 10 years from now, we're going to look back and talk about what a rich and open world it was, the settler system, how it's not the greatest game ever, but it is definitely a high watermark. And people spent 8 months playing around with this fucking settling building system. It was a huge thing.
Hey, Carlos, you want to go first, right? Because I have my answer of why this is not.
Well, I have an answer to Brett, but I also have your answer as well. So I'll just answer Brett. 10 years from now, Brett, I'm going to be saying Fallout 4 was pretty good, but Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas was a shit.
I was just about to say that. Fallout 4, I thought it was. I had a lot of fun. I got the platinum in it too. It was more of the same. Dude, it was really more of the same. Fallout 3, even with its bugs, I never played some shit like that. That was revolutionary.
Yeah.
I know people are going to think that I'm not a true Fallout fan when I say this, but do you really think that New Vegas was better than Fallout 4? I get the love. I get the love for the original developers. I get the love for the branching storyline and the consequence. But when you talk about polish, that game was less polished than Fallout 3. It was less organized than Fallout 3. It made less sense than Fallout 3.
Yeah.
I can't say that New Vegas. I can't even pretend to say that New Vegas was a better game than Fallout 4. Not even coming close. Not even even taking the settlement system out of Fallout 4. New Vegas was nowhere near as good as Fallout 4. And there are people I'm sure yelling at me, yelling at the screen right now. I love Fallout 4 and I love Fallout New Vegas. I'd love to see the development go back to the original team. I loved how much deeper a game it was, but it wasn't bolted together as well.
But Carlos, you can answer because I'm just specifically talking about Fallout 3. Which one had a bigger impact? Fallout 3 for sure. Fallout 4 was great. It was just more of the same.
Let's just stick to Fallout 3. Fallout 3 had something that that was never done. It was a freaking action-oriented RPG with a huge, vast world, and Fallout 4 is that plus some more features and a little bit more polish.
But you don't think the settlement feature is one of the so many people were still I know I
got me lost. I spent too much time and I got dizzy.
That was so tacked on. That should not have been in the game.
And Brett, that shit just got annoying. I had so many settlements and this one's falling down, this one's falling down. I don't give a fuck, man. I just want to finish this story. And
I came across some weird glitches where I'll set up a bunch of beds and no one would sleep in them.
Well, not even that. What other game can you build stuff? Besides Minecraft? What other game can you collect and build something? Can you affect the game world permanently?
Life.
Well,
create some kids.
And Brett, the best thing about all these Bethesda games is exploring the world and discovering new things. The settlement things, it doesn't attribute to that. It's just the same old, like in the same place.
Yeah. Oh, I have to disagree. And I think the settlement thing breathed new life into it. Suddenly I had a reason to go out in the world. So like I put more time into Fallout than I have like every previous iteration of Fallout combined. Just because I can build a junk castle. I can build a lair. I can fill it with settlers. I can go out and forage for iron. Like it's the same way like survival games weren't a thing until DayZ came out. Like there was the idea of survival, but it wasn't a genre before that.
Fallout 3 did it, man. Like Fallout 3, you couldn't heal yourself unless you found stim packs and food, and you got overcumbered by the weight of your items that you picked up. Like Fallout 3 had all of that.
And Fallout 3 was super fucking restrictive. Like I came from a time when the first Elder Scrolls game I played was Morrowind. I could kill any motherfucker, take his house, set up drop items all around, put them on the bookshelves and everything like that, organize the place to, however I want it, and leave it, and it would stay like that.
Yeah, but in Fallout 3, you could become a junkie and just like travel around the world and skip everything. Go straight to the end. I mean, you could just roam the world. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, just for the sake of moving this conversation along, Chris, I got one for you, man.
Oh yeah,
Demon Souls, man.
Oh my god. Oh,
was that the Two Worlds one where you would like switch from different worlds, like the demon world and the regular world, to get through doors and stuff? Was that?
Oh, wait, Adam, you haven't played the Souls games?
Or is that Dark Souls?
You didn't do that. Oh.
Like, what game are you talking about, dude?
Soul Reapers. That's what I'm thinking about. Forget it.
Soul Reaper, you mean?
Soul Reaper is not a PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah, that's back. You go back to PS2.
I didn't know what you guys had. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah,
I was kissing my 360 at that point. I don't know what
you don't go up to Chris and go, "What's this Souls thing I've heard about?"
What's this Souls thing?
Back then, I was like, "Yo, man, you should buy yourself a PlayStation 3." You're like, "Fuck that PlayStation 3."
I would tell you, like, don't you see my Xbox? Don't you see it glowing over there? God damn.
Man,
glowing red.
Then I'm
glowing red.
That's
okay.
Then I'm like, which Xbox is this one this time? Number 20?
My third, fourth. Who's counting? It don't matter.
That's why I would say like I'm not a fan of remasters, but if a Demon Souls remastered happened, it would get day one, like minute one. I love that freaking game. But yeah, originally I bought the PS3 when Metal Gear Solid 4 dropped, and that's when I bought it, right?
That's when we all bought it at the same time.
And so that definitely.
So you went to the point of getting the backward compatible one.
I did. I ordered a refurb from GameStop. I hate GameStop.
I got my PS3 when it came with the bundle for the Uncharted and Infamous. It was like, oh, you get Uncharted series and the Infamous, and I was like, all right. And I want to play The Last of Us. So I was like, all right, I'll get it.
Oh shit, that was deep, man. Deep into the console cycle, man.
And a PS2, I had an old school one, right? And then I don't know what happened. I think an ex-girlfriend took it or something. And then Manny, for my birthday or something, remember we went to Best Buy and you bought me the little silver one with God of War 2.
Yep.
Yeah. And I still have it. It's in a box here.
Hey man, at least you had it easy, man. I bought the PS3 launch date with fucking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, was that the one where you like
2006, man?
Shit?
06, Sonic 06.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's brutal.
And then like I got I think Resistance was the next game I got, and that was just okay. I was a deep Xbox gamer back then, so like I always compared Resistance to Halo.
No shit.
Never got close.
Yeah, never.
Remember back in the day?
Freedom Fighters. Bring that back. Freedom Fighters. That was a game, and that was also on PS2. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing, like talking about Resistance, right? Remember back in the day where every like shooter
Halo
that came
killer.
out, it was the Halo
Ace.
killer. Everything was the fucking Halo killer. Remember Killzone? That was supposed to be a Halo killer.
Killzone was supposed to be that. Yeah.
Oh man, I remember. So I'm digging back, man. I used to be a fan of Hip Hop Gamer on YouTube before he was with the Bit Bag, before he met up with Torrance. And I used to watch his videos, and he was trying to justify Haze being better than Halo 3, man.
What?
I still remember. I don't know if those videos are still out there, man, but he said that, and I was like, ah. And I remember I used to just type in the chat.
Haze, without saying, she was a terrible fucking game, man.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, so I had an answer for the game. This game, I'm surprised. Like, we haven't seen a sequel or anything. This game was so fun. Freaking Warhawk, man. Like,
oh shit,
that game was so fun. Even though no one had a mic, like that, like coming from Xbox, like everyone had a mic, but freaking Warhawk, nobody talked. But still, the game was so fun.
Didn't Warhawk have like a spiritual kind of sequel?
It's Starhawk, I think.
There we go. Yeah.
You know what I miss? I do miss from the original Xbox Live is that they were all adults. There were no little kids. I remember playing Ghost Recon and stuff, and it was just full of adults. Because you remember, it's like it was completely different. You needed to get a disc and a headset. That was a whole other $60 purchase, and there was no kids. It was just adults. That was a cool time.
And the funny thing is comparing, with PSN, right? A lot of people, at that point, Xbox was really big and stuff. When PSN started, people were like, it's very quiet on PSN because nobody bought the fucking headsets and shit. It wasn't included. Like with Xbox, it was just included in the console. With the 360.
Dude, that was a selling point. That was literally a selling point for the PlayStation. There's not so many people on there calling you fag all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, of course, How You Kill Your Brand. That was a funny one.
Yeah, but then, of course, when I did go online with the headset, it's like, damn, these motherfuckers are crazy, man. I got called a nigger. I'm like, really?
Dude, that was the funny thing. Like when playing with Xbox, like I play with a lot of kids. When I got my PlayStation, I realized how many people smoke weed and have babies.
Because you hear them in the background.
Yeah, because that's all I ever hear is bongs and babies.
Dude, it's funny you bring it up because I've been playing with this one friend on PSN for a while. We were playing Grand Theft Auto 4, right? We were grinding for weeks trying to get this one trophy, right? And we eventually started talking, right? First thing he says to me is like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry that I sound like a stoner." Now, and I'm like, dude, most of my friends smoke pot. I didn't even notice you talked funny, man. It's hilarious, but yeah. Yeah,
that is something only a stoner would say. Like, what do you talk? Like, how do you even talk like a stoner? That's some paranoid, weird. I've been smoking a bunch of weed, and now I think kind of thing.
Yeah, it was hilarious because we're talking. It's like, hey man, how you doing? Blah blah blah. And he's like, I'm sorry, I sound like a stoner. I'm like, okay, such a weird thing to say to somebody, But that was also the first time that I was made aware that I apparently have an accent.
Got an accent.
These Southern guys, hey, let me ask you a question. You're from New York, ain't you? I'm like, oh, yeah? How did you know? Your accent. I'm like, I don't have an accent. You have an accent. Listen to the way you talk, Well,
who was the weirdest? I had a weird story.
Oh.
Here's a weird one. So it was Ghost Recon, right? And this is the early days when it went from the Xbox and these guys carried over to the 360, right? So I had some of them. And we're talking, and then one of the guys sent me a private message, and let's just say the guy we were talking about was the guy named Mark, not his real name. And the guy was like, the guy was like, yo, has he called you or asked for your phone number? And I'm like, yeah, he asked for my number, but I didn't give it to him. And it's like, well, I made the mistake of giving him my number. He calls me up every once in a while asking me to send him some money so he can get some games, and he's always giving me these sad stories. And I told him, yo, I'm not giving you any money. That's it. And he now harasses him, cursing him out and stuff, saying he's gonna find him and kill him and all this stuff. And
the fuck?
I was like, are you kidding me? And he was like, no. And sure enough, the guy started sending me IMs. Yo, man, what's your number? I need to talk to you. I'm like, I was like, nope, delete. I delete him from my list. That was weird because I was like, that's the first time. Like, I never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, these guys, you game with them and play, but I never thought once of asking them for their real contact number and to call them up.
Yo, that's crazy, man.
You did have one guy's number for some.
Yeah,
that's network. That's network. But network was different. It was network. Network was very different. I mean, till this day, he's an awesome guy. We were doing special stuff to our 360s at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, he was one of my buddies. That it was funny. We were playing a game that we should have been playing online, and we noticed it was all of us in the group and one other person. And we're like, "So where'd you get this?" And he was like, wherever you got yours. And we're like, all right, like, all right, cool, friend request. And that was it. So yeah, that was network. And then we talked on the phone a few times.
You know what else I learned on PlayStation? Like when you beat dudes online, they will send you messages, you fucking cocksucker, all this crazy shit,
Play some FIFA, you'll get it constantly. Like, I still get it.
I was playing fucking Soul Calibur. I think it was Soul Calibur 4, right? And I was playing online. I was mostly losing, right? But every time I won, I would get a message, you fucking asshole, you piece of shit, you gay ass, all this crazy stuff. I fucked your mother. I'm like, okay, where's this coming from? I thought that shit was fucking hilarious, And then I remember this other time I was playing GTA 4, right? We get in the room. I don't know. I think it was, I just jumped into a random lobby, right? This dude, it's supposed to be a co-op fucking mission, right? This one motherfucker on the team starts killing everybody. He messages me, haha, you stupid nigger, I killed you. I'm like, we're supposed to be on the same team, you dumbass. Fucking dumb shit, But yes, I did appreciate when you go into a lobby, it was just quiet. I was actually, like, even now, like, I appreciate when it's quiet online, because who wants to hear idiots,
Well, here's the thing. You actually don't even need to, you actually don't need.
PlayStation 4 is beautiful because I get online. If I'm going to play with you guys, we make a private room. We don't got to deal with any of these fucking idiots anymore. It's beautiful, But yeah, it's just funny. But yeah, PS3, did everybody, say their favorite games? I think we covered most of them, right? Yeah. I know some guys are gonna get on our ass. What about the JRPGs?
Well, I liked Journey. I thought Journey
was good.
Heavenly Sword was pretty good.
Oh yeah, Heavenly Sword.
Not to bring up Mass Effect, Tony.
That was an exclusive though.
That was an exclusive.
Oh, I guess okay. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about exclusives.
Yeah, PS3 exclusive, not the whole generation. We could have a whole podcast.
Yeah, that's another thing. Let's say if you pick them up and you never finish them, they're backward compatible now on Xbox One.
That's right.
So that's another incentive right there, especially with the new one just around the corner. People are like,
what, Adam? I think you have a point because the only reason I'm keeping my Xbox One is because of backwards compatibility games. Otherwise, I don't need the fucking console anymore.
There you go. I'm telling you, that's a big selling point. And if Sony wants to get involved in that, they need to like open up that Now service or do something.
I always say that PlayStation Now should just be an additional part of your PlayStation Plus.
Throw it all under one price. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, in other words, here's the thing. Like, even if it is like what they could do is like, okay, you get the Plus version of if they still want to collect money, you get the Plus version of PlayStation Now, which doesn't have as many games, but it still gives you games. Then if you decide you want to play a little more, then you get the unlimited library.
Well, look what Amazon's doing. Amazon throws all these different services under that one Prime umbrella, and people do it.
Yep. Yeah, man.
You feel like you're getting more bang for your buck. You get all these other services, movies and audio, and now you got all these other little services on the side, and you get the 2-day delivery. I mean, you feel like you're getting more bang for your buck. It seems worth it. It's a no-brainer.
And PlayStation has View as well, so
yeah.
But then you have to pay for that separately.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They have so many different separate pricings. It's like if they just had one package. It's like, here, boom, one flat rate and get all of this. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, but I don't know. Sony's being dumb. All right, so let's start wrapping this up. So a couple of things here. So
you almost missed me out, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
You don't like PlayStation. What are you talking about?
No. The thing, Brian has an interesting story about PlayStation 3. Brian, weren't you actually on PS3 before you became like a hardcore PC gamer?
Kind of. I kind of made the switch because I just got tired of just how the games ran. But essentially, my favorite games are God of War, because God of War was just
God of War 3.
I thought that was actually like one of the best exclusives of that generation, just hands down.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal. I had another one, but I can't remember what that was.
I know you like Metal Gear Solid 4 as well. You always talked about that.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was really good. I had to play it like 5 times, like understand what the hell was going on.
Didn't PlayStation have their own knockoff? Wasn't it called Getaway or something like that? London Getaway or something like that?
The Getaway? That was like...
Was that on PS2?
PlayStation 2.
That was an exclusive, right? That never came back.
That game was fucking trash too, man. I sold that shit. Yeah.
What was the name of the game?
No, it's like...
Go ahead, Brian.
No. I was about to say that I actually got my PS2 my PS3 because Mag came out, and I was just super stoked for that.
Oh,
game.
I remember Mag.
Yeah, Mag,
Yeah,
yeah.
I actually bought Mag, and like I played it for hours on end. I mean, like I got like seriously involved in that game. Like I joined a clan. I had like clan mates. We had like times that we'd go on. We had like clan wars and all sorts. It was fantastic. And yeah, the whole thing about like stoners and kids on PlayStation is so true. Half the time, these guys were just talking about smoking weed, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?" Like, how can you guys just be like smoking weed and like we're doing like a 128 versus like 128 battle here? Like, come on. But no,
you hear that from Emilio Lopez.
Massive action game. Now, Brian, would you say Mag for you was the original Warframe? As far as time put in, time sinks go.
As far as time sinks, no, the original Warframe has always been and will always be Need for Speed Most Wanted. Like that game, I would literally just play on that game for like half an hour, just to kill time. Before I need to do things. Okay, cool. Just throw in some Most Wanted, play for like an hour and a bit, like try and see like how long I can last without getting caught, type thing.
It's awesome.
Man, but mine just Gears of War, just Horde, just jumping in the Horde. Got that whole same thing. It was just like, oh man, I got some time to kill. I'll do 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great PlayStation game.
It was exclusive. Only some people got it.
But as for exclusives that I think that they should like make, it's never going to happen because it can't happen. SOCOM.
SOCOM.
I just want my SOCOM back, man. It's like
Unit 13.
Yo, didn't they fuck up SOCOM on PS3? Isn't that where it all went wrong?
Because like they had Confrontation, which is like not made by them, and then
they
had
Zipcord or something like that. Zipcord, I think that was a studio.
Zipper Interactive.
Yeah.
Really, I could have sworn SOCOM went wrong on PS3. I guess I was wrong.
Last game they did was that Unit 13 for Vita. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, they just kind of just messed up, and then Zipper just closed down because sales were just ass.
Yeah.
And this all ties back to, of course, the Call of Duty. Is that they tried to like make it a lot more like Call of Duty. Like they pretty much just like copied Call of Duty structure. Like they made it faster for no reason. They added perks. They added golden guns, and just like why?
I always felt like Ghost Recon is what killed it. Because I mean, Ghost Recon had that same vibe, and I'm like, man, if I had the choice between the two, I would go Ghost Recon.
Oh no! Like SOCOM had like its own crowd, like dedicated people, but the issue with SOCOM 4 is that the developers like try to cast a wider net and appeal to the Call of Duty guys, but then like that alienated like the hardcore fans, and then because the Call of Duty guys want to play Call of Duty, so they were stuck with nothing, and hence the thing just closed down.
Shit.
Whatever happened to that spiritual successor of SOCOM? Did the game ever come out?
I think it was in early access for a bit, and then just nothing happened.
Wow. That's nuts. All right. So I guess we're pretty much done with that. So a couple of things here before we wrap up. Okay. So next week on the show, we're going to have Fox from PS News Now. He's been wanting to be on Throwdown for a while. So we're going to have him on. British guy too, Brian. So you guys will get along, And he's also
like
very
football?
smarmy.
I need to talk football with somebody from the UK.
He might, so we're going to have him on next week. Should be fun. And Friday today, I guess, Warzone number 300 is happening, people. Pretty monumental moment.
So, that's crazy.
Yeah. So your boy Tony, I'm gonna be on that shit, and try to get in the chat. I'm gonna try to get some of you motherfuckers in there too. Manny, you snuck in there one time, didn't you?
Nah, yeah, he let me on. I mean, the thing is that he leaves it open for everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, Warzone, that's pretty big, because obviously without the Warzone, we, wouldn't be here, torrents and all that. So that's a pretty big moment, pretty cool there. And then the last thing is Watch Dogs 2. I've actually been playing it for a little bit. I haven't been playing as much as I want to because I've been busy and stuff. This weekend I'm going to go heavy into it, and I'll have the review for you on Monday, which is the embargo day. Going to be very interesting, you know.
The coalition.com.
The coalition.com. We still got to find out
with a K. With a K. Remember that. With a K.
No, because they like for the coalition, when you hear the bumpers, there's this guy going, "Welcome to the coalition.com." And many are always like, "Who is that dude?"
I always ask who that guy is. I'm like, "Who is that?" And they're just like, "Oh yeah, we just hired some, we hired some dude." I'm like, "Who?"
Yeah, right. Get him on. Welcome to the Throwdown.
Welcome to the Throwdown.
Well, we got that like weird samples like Throwdown. Like, who is that guy?
We don't know who that is. That could be Sean.
It could, yeah. All right.
Speaking of which, we do have to have him on.
Ooh, last thing, Manny, pimp some shit, please. You know what's going on.
Oh yes. By the way, Mosaic number 2 just came out on Wednesday. So if you liked Mosaic 1, Mosaic 2 is out for you. So that's what's going on in the streets.
Buy it.
Yeah, buy it.
Buy it. Live it. Love it.
Give this man some money.
Oh, I don't get any money out of that shit.
Hey, by the way, Manny, before we go, okay, and this is not video game related at all, but I want you to, talk to us about that mini rant you went on about colorists and shit.
Oh, okay. So literally what happened was, okay, you remember that Riri cover that Scott Campbell did, right? The redo.
Yeah.
That he did.
The redo.
The redo. Anyway, they Peter Stuggerwood, who's an amazing colorist and artist, actually colored that piece, and it wasn't actually at the time. It wasn't going to be a Marvel thing. So, the Comic Book Resources did a feature on it, but totally left the guy's name out of it. And I'm like, come on, guys, seriously? I mean, the guy, he gave up his free time to do this shit because he really wanted to to color this cover. So I'm like, this is just this is one portion of a bigger problem with the comics industry, which they absolutely do have they have this uncanny ability to not credit the things that colorists do for the industry nowadays. I say this like if you ever look at I always say, yeah, go pick up Mosaic, but if you ever look at any press releases from Comic Book Resources or anything on the internet, you never see my name listed along with everybody else. Yet my name is on the cover.
I saw it on Tech Jacket.
Tech Jacket, that's Robert Kirkman. He always does that stuff. Robert, there's certain. It's not to say that everybody in the comic industry does this, but it's usually the big two that sort of does this. Like it was only until recently that DC started crediting colorists on covers. But the thing is, the way this all works is that they give you the credits on the cover, but they don't say anything about you in press releases. So it's like, if you want to do a search for me on fucking what is it, Comixology, like find out what other books I've done. A lot of the books that I've done for DC don't show up. A lot of the books I've done for some of the books like Mosaic does not show up for me on there.
Can't you attach yourself to that? Isn't that how it?
No, it's not.
They have to do it.
They have to do it, and usually, and sometimes, because I've also had names that got crossed over, because there's another Emilio or another Lopez in the industry, so theirs shit gets lumped under my thing. But they're like, no, we can't change it because that's what Marvel or DC submitted. They would have to resubmit it and change it. It's a bunch of bullshit. But anyway. The thing about a lot of colors is it's not just color that you're doing a lot of the time. A lot of times you're doing a lot more production stuff. I'm talking like resizing pages. I'm talking fixing artwork. Like number one, I used to work at Marvel years ago, 1998. I interned there. Back then we used to have an internal art revision department. So if let's say John Romero Jr. can't fix up page 1, panel 3 of Spider-Man that he's working on, right? The internal arts department decides, comes in and bakes a patch and fixes up the artwork. So now things kind of get thrown at the colors because we're at the end of the process. So we'll get I'll get a page that'll be like, blah 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 is not supposed to be wearing glasses. Can you get rid of that? No, that's what the artist should be doing.
And then what if you did it, and then the artist finds out, and then he gets all pissy about it?
He doesn't get the number one. It doesn't. Once you hand your stuff over to Marvel, that's it. They can edit it as much as they want to. Hence why, if you remember a little scandal that happened with Frank Cho on that Wonder Woman cover.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The once you hand that stuff over, they have the right to do anything they want to the artwork once it's been handed in. So that means any art revisions or anything like that, they officially don't need to go to the artist to say, "Hey, fix this." That's why they have the revisions department, which goes in and says, "All right, we're gonna adjust this a little bit so that this works." But the thing is that, again, when you're a colorist, a lot of times you're asked to do these sorts of revisions, which nowhere in your contract does it say that you have to do these things, but you're always asked to do them.
Yeah, yet you don't get credit.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking for one portion of it. You just give us a little bit of credit. I mean, here's the other thing. Somebody on Twitter mentioned, "Oh, hey, I don't see any colorist credits on graphic novels." It's like we see them on the single issues, but we don't see it on the graphic novels. Oh, you want to know the reason why that happens, right?
Because they recolor it, right?
No, it's not because they recolor it. It's because especially when it comes to contract, when you have everybody gets a percentage of whatever book. I have a percentage, but it's only for like a percentage off of reprints of the books that you've done. But the thing is, the clause in that contract is if they use your name on the cover to sell the book. So the only names that you ever see on the covers of books, you'll see like more famous colorists. You'll see that, and those guys get a residual because they're specifically using their name.
Considered like a selling point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, we got Joe Schmo to work on this to do this, but otherwise everybody else doesn't get that. So, I mean, the thing is, I do a lot. I mean, I even posted a picture of the exact amount of work that I'll do. Like it's literally a static shock cover, and literally the original line work was static shock and a shadow, and I added a whole lot of other things onto that. That's the sort of stuff that colorists do now, not just filling in Superman's cape red. Sometimes we're totally reworking artwork for it, but none of it gets there. Nobody cares about it. It's like I just think it's kind of stupid. Where it's like, come on, if this guy did a good job, which Peter Stugward does amazing work, he should at least get a little bit of a gimme. Like, wow, Peter did a great job coloring this piece.
Yeah, especially because he wasn't even like asked to do it. He just did it because he wanted to.
No, because he went over to Scott Campbell. He said, "Listen, I think this is an amazing, pacing piece that you did. I really want to color it for you." And he even said it on Facebook too. It's like, come on, guys. Little bit of a gimme. The guy fucking owns Aspen Comics.
Yeah, it's not like he's a nobody.
It's not like he's a nobody, but anyway.
But yeah, no, I just wanted you to tell that on there because it's very interesting. Not a lot of attention to it. And then, like you said in your post, like colorists like actually help with the storytelling too. From panel to panel and all that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if there's another guy, I think his name is Will, who colors the Transformers comics. Like, you look at that original artwork, it's a mess. It's like there's no separation. You can't separate what forms or what. But this guy goes in there and he fixes all of that. And that's what happens a lot of times. Sometimes you'll have an artist that really doesn't understand space. And the colors still create that space. So like what characters are forward, what are back. You can even punch a moment within the issue. So yeah, might just be me ranting, but I still think.
I wanted you to say that.
I still think this sort of stuff is important. You should never overlook the contributions of the people that put these things in the book. I mean, that goes same for inkers. That even goes for a lot of the letterers. Like our letterer, like we literally made this really cool thing. Like whenever Mosaic in our comic talks, right, we created a whole new word bubble for him.
Oh, nice. I always like when they do that stuff, you know?
Yeah, he has like this kind of funky, like squared Kirby crackle word bubble that we designed. So it's like, that's cool too. It's like, yeah, but I'm not saying, you know, everybody needs to be listed on the cover. Like, I don't want it to be like a thing, but I mean, especially the guys that are officially creating the artwork. I'm creating artwork, even though it's just I'm creating one side of it. You know, I'm a part of an assembly line, but we're still creating these things.
Yeah, it's just crazy how people don't see that. But yeah, thank you for. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The stigma really comes from the fact that I think a lot of people don't exactly understand that, you know, they see the two names there and they think, okay, those are the two guys that are creating their artwork. It's a little bit of a stretch to think that there's more people involved, that comics are not just, you know, three, or, you know, comics aren't just two people. They're usually three, sometimes four people.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Like, they see art, it's like, hey, that's a great artist. Like, you know, he didn't do the colors, right?
And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, a shitty colorist can ruin a good artist, and a good colorist can make a bad artist look amazing.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But whenever you see any of these comic reviews, they always start off like, "Oh, here's the writer, and here's the the artist." That's it. They don't really go into depth. They just. I usually
get if I'm doing my job right and somebody notices, they'll say, "And his amazing colors." I'm like, "Yay, cool, thank you." You know, at least somebody is noticing the work that I'm doing in there. But I mean, that's also the kind of. You also have to. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because you kind of have to be a little bit invisible at the same time. Because I mean, obviously, you know, the writer and the artist are the superstars, but you also have to kind of riff and work your way into that too. Like, in other words, you're accentuating what they're bringing too. But that doesn't mean you can't give the colors a little bit of a give. You give the inker a little bit of a give, you know, because they're actually creating the artwork.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. But anyways, thank you for sharing that. So let's wrap this up. Thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Also help support the site by donating to the Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco and touched by Emilio Lopez.
And so, I can't remember. It was something with high and the blow up. Whatever.
Fuck that up. Chris Seeley. Chris Seeley.
Take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Laters, everyone.
Brett Murdock.
It's been real, party people.
Adam Vale.
Watch some Lucha Underground, El Rey Network. Support Lucha Underground.
And of course, Brian Munjoma.
Made it all the way without talking about politics.
Woo! Yay. And you sound like a robot too, Brian. Do not destroy us all.
Exterminate.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.
Later.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Peace.